The other thing I found interesting was the complete absence of Prince Harry's presence in any favorable light. He arrived with the only remaining royals still in touch with him, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. It was supposed to be a private meeting at Windsor Castle, a rare gathering called by King Charles due to his health concerns. But the silence in the room was striking. The king did not speak. Instead, he handed the floor to Princess Anne. Then came the shocking revelation that would change the royal family's legacy forever. The controversial interview that left everyone puzzled. Some sources fear Prince Harry and Meghan may be permanently sidelined, with their children, Archie and Lilibet, stripped of royal acknowledgement and titles, effectively frozen out of the royal fold. What followed wasn't just disappointment. It was a full-blown royal crisis. Prince Harry appeared visibly shaken, and for the first time, the door didn't just close, it was locked. Meghan, as usual, was nowhere to be seen. Over the weekend, Harry revealed that his father, King Charles, had cut him off once again, claiming that the monarch refused to speak to him. This followed Harry's failed legal appeal for security arrangements. Let's start with the chilling silence. King Charles, a monarch known for his measured diplomacy, stunned even his closest family members by refusing to give a final statement. He didn't sit at the head of the table with his usual composed authority. Instead, he sat back, eyes focused and hands folded, handing the task to Princess Anne. This gesture spoke volumes. It wasn't just a debate, it was the execution of duty. By letting Anne speak on his behalf, Charles was sending a clear message to everyone in the room, unleashing harsh criticisms aimed at his own family. What struck me the most was the soundbite that everyone seized upon. "I would like to reconcile with Harry." His personal feelings no longer protected his youngest son from the consequences of years of public betrayals. Oprah interviews, Netflix docuseries, and memoirs that publicly criticized the monarchy. After these incidents, King Charles finally set a firm boundary, and it was Princess Anne, the monarchy's most loyal supporter, who was entrusted with enforcing it. This wasn't a gesture of reconciliation, it was an eviction notice. Then came the punch to the gut. Princess Anne read out what many insiders now confirm was the most controversial part of the king's directive. Archie and Lilibet would not be acknowledged as his and her royal highnesses, now or in the future. For Meghan Markle, this was a devastating blow. For the last 3 years, she has subtly and consistently campaigned for her children to receive royal titles. It took Prince Harry 40 years to understand the concept of consequences. Princess Diana had always referred to her youngest son as thick-skinned, going so far as to accuse the palace of racism and institutional bias during her 2021 Oprah interview. However, this situation wasn't about race, it was about rules and loyalty. By stepping down as working royals, Harry and Meghan forfeited their right to pass down royal titles. Their expectation that they could publicly criticize the monarchy while still enjoying its privileges in private was, at best, naive and, at worst, manipulative. If there was ever a moment to test the royal family's willingness to extend even a symbolic gesture to Prince Harry's son, it would have been for Archie's birthday. Yet, the silence from Buckingham Palace was deafening. As May 6th came and went, there was no public message from any senior royal, not from King Charles, not from Prince William, and not even from the official royal family social media accounts. This was in stark contrast to previous years, where minimal birthday greetings were offered despite tensions. This year's total blackout marked a deliberate shift. No cake emoji, no throwback photo, nothing. Meanwhile, birthday tributes flowed freely for working royals, even for minor figures. Princess Eugenie's son, August, received a public mention on his special day. The message was clear: Archie is no longer part of the royal family. He was born into a family that no longer acknowledges him. Sources close to the palace have confirmed that this was not an oversight. Meanwhile, in California, the Duchess of Sussex has been making moves, though details remain unclear. They hired a brand new chief of staff. Can you imagine needing a chief of staff? It's not like being the president, is it? When Aiden mentioned yesterday that the strategic decision reflected internal consensus, it was clear that Archie and Lilibet were not to be included in royal protocols as long as Harry and Meghan remain outside the royal fold and continue to capitalize on their royal connection. For Harry, this was yet another emotional blow, especially considering his father, King Charles, shares a birthday month with his grandson. But with trust broken and ties severed, even the children have become collateral in the Sussexes' tension with the royal family. This wasn't just a snub, it was a clear statement. You made your choice, so did we. The royal family has now drawn a definitive line. If you're not serving the crown, your children will not carry its titles, period. I think they explained it as though they both decided it wasn't going to work, but there's also the history from when they were active members of the royal family. If that weren't enough, the next point deepened the tension. The Sussexes were reminded firmly and unambiguously that they are not to use their royal titles in any commercial, political, or public-facing capacity. That means no more Duke and Duchess of Sussex attached to Netflix deals, charity press releases, or Archwell branding. Let's be clear, this was always part of the original Sandringham Agreement back in 2020. However, the couple has frequently skirted the edges of that agreement, branding themselves as global royals without fulfilling the royal duties. There's been significant turnover in their staff over the past few years, and King Charles has also lost several key staff members who remained during the transition after the late Queen's death, but have since moved on. Harry still refers to himself as Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex in his lawsuits, while Meghan's social media and press releases heavily emphasize her Duchess branding. They present themselves as part-time royals when it's convenient, but full-time victims when called out. This time, the palace isn't playing along. The new instruction is clear. The use of royal status by non-working royals is unauthorized, unauthentic, and now unacceptable. The fallout has been significant. The focus is now on someone with experience in philanthropy. However, the problem with the Sussexes is that they need to bring in money as well, and it's unclear whether their new chief of staff has the necessary experience in that area. Meanwhile, sources at Windsor confirmed that Prince Harry was visibly upset. One palace aide described him as fractured, while another said he was seething, cornered, and unraveling by the minute. Imagine it. A man who once stood second in line to the throne now reduced to a silent witness as his family effectively distances him from royal life. According to those present, Harry's hands trembled, his eyes nervously darted between Princess and Prince William, and his mouth remained clenched as he sat in silence. The full weight of his choices was finally sinking in. There was no press team, no Meghan to back him up, no Netflix crew to edit out the pain. Over the weekend, some have suggested it's all a PR show, but I really don't sense that. There's a lot of angst, especially from Harry, regarding the family rift and the cold reality from blood relatives who've simply had enough. Harry didn't storm out. He didn't protest. He simply sat there, shaken and powerless, for the first time in years. And this was only the beginning. What Princess and the others revealed next sent shockwaves through the monarchy and reignited tensions between the Crown and California. With Parliament quietly supporting these moves and Meghan's absence becoming harder to ignore, the Sussexes now face the starkest truth of all. They are no longer royal. Stay tuned as we dive into the next explosive developments, including William's stunned reaction and what the king's long-term plans could mean for Archie and Lilibet.